so that it is no longer convenient to go out the entrance.
Okay, all right, that's all, all right.
Now,
Yep.
before we do anything more than that, I'd like to wait until we see what the
fence does.
outcome of putting those fences up and whether or not that alleviates the
The
problem.
fence will be triggered as you come in?
It's
No,
not.
It's not, it's a permanent
it's-
fixture,
it's
sits
not-
in the road.
It's not a permanent fixture, it can be moved, it's on, it's like, it looks like a white picket fence, and it's like, you know, I don't know, 8 feet long or
Right, and
whatever.
they're on wheels and you can roll them.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
move them so you can plow roadways and such,
Right.
but it's clearly indicates that you can't go that way, if the traffic can only go this way, so
Yeah.
hopefully that
That's a
will.
signage on it.
When I said permanent, I didn't mean that it was fixed in position, I just meant it would be there and it would, you know, this isn't something you push a button and it goes away. It stays there until we physically move it.
Correct, and the only reason I wanted to mention the fact that it's not permanent is because that was one of the things we talked about, was that a permanent structure would pose a problem if we were having to plow roads,
course,
such
yeah.
as putting the spikes up and all those other
The
things.
things is out of the way when we plow.
Yep.
Okay, so we're working on that. That's,
Okay, yep.
they're on order, we're waiting for those to come in, we'll put them out, and we'll see what the impact is.
All right, that's it for me for old business.
Peter, old business, you were gonna look into who your company used to review the tapes? Get us a name of somebody who might be able to sit and review all those tapes?
I think that's like,
I'm sorry?
Yes, that was my homework assignment, and I actually will be tomorrow spending my whole day with that person.
Okay.
But their comment was that we probably should be looking for a security firm down here that's closer to our facility, and I said, I left it saying, give me some names or give me some ideas, and he's not gotten back to me, but I will be in tomorrow,
Okay.
and I'll push on that to see if they have ideas of who, if there are specifically firms in this area that would do that.
Okay.
His comment was that they knew somebody who's up in Portland, Maine, saying that they're close to Portland, Maine. And it's not logistically something that would make sense, because if they see anything, they don't have contacts with the right people and so on.
Makes sense.
Give us a name, or a couple of names, we'll look into it.
Yeah, I will still continue to pursue.
Anything else under old business? Anybody else got anything under old business?
Nope, I'm good.
New business, anything under new business? We have one item. This is our neighbor from West Avenue. The request was made to look at a small piece of property that, has everybody seen the email? Everybody seen the diagram of this piece of property? It borders their existing property. And the question was, could we sell that piece to them because it doesn't serve any useful purpose for us? Up till this time, they've been maintaining it, that is, they cut the grass because it is just a sliver of land and it's associated with their property. We talked to a number of people about whether or not we could in fact sell that property. Before we made any decision on whether we would sell it, we looked at whether or not we could sell it. And the reality is that we probably could make arrangements to sell that piece of property. But the cost would be so prohibitive that it's just beyond the realm of possibility to do it. Now, why would the cost be prohibitive? The property, as it is currently defined for the heights, what the description of that property was used in the planning and zoning application for the project to rebuild the heights. In addition, that same land description was used in all of the finance documents for the low-income housing tax credits and all the grants and bank loans that went into funding this project. If we were to undertake selling that small, relatively small piece of land, all of those documents would have to be rewritten. And the legal costs that would ensue, first of all, you would have to get each of the individual lenders to agree that they allow us to modify the documents. And then you'd have to have the lawyers all agree that the modification was what they thought it was, the costs would just be astronomical. And with no end in sight. Because as we know from the documents that we've done over and over for the Heights, every time we think we've got it all wrapped up, somebody comes along and says, yes, but. And now you're back to square one again, and you're paying the lawyers by the hour to do these things. So we did talk about it with our development partners. We talked about it to see whether or not it was possible or feasible to do it, and unfortunately the answer is it is not. So for us to discuss whether we wanted to do it or not is really a moot point. It just isn't, it's not, I'm sorry, it's just not feasible.
Okay.
We took a real hard look at it, but the costs involved in doing it are prohibitive.
And I guess if, I don't think at this point we're gonna do it, but if we ever offer to take that cost from your hand into our hands, I mean, would that change, I guess, the answer on, like, if
we would take the next step in terms of exploring exactly what was involved in making that change.
Okay.
Okay? We didn't do that, we didn't go that far to find out exactly what documents are impacted, what we have to do with planning and zoning. We simply looked at a quick list of what documents were involved and realized that this is not a trivial task, this becomes monumental, and said, you know, it's just not feasible. If you came back to us and said, look, whatever the cost, we'll do it. We would then go and look into much more detail to get a specific cost estimate on what it would cost to do it. And at that time, the housing authority would have to undertake a motion to determine whether or not we actually wanted to do it. And we haven't had that discussion, so I have no idea how that would go.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I just do want to point out that we will, moving forward, maintain that piece of land. So it's on our landscaper, agenda to have that cleaned and landscaped.
Okay.
Okay.
So then going
Yeah.
forward, we
Yep.
shouldn't really be.
Yep.
Okay,
We are
that's
doing
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
And don't be afraid to come and talk to us
Yeah.
about what's going on over there, because...
No, I mean, we
until-
didn't really have any problem or any issue because when my husband does it, he does that as well.
I understand.
Our own, so it was because the other piece of discussion came up, and so and we just said, oh, since we are maintaining it, nobody really is enjoying it other than us. It just seems fair that we do the maintenance and we buy it. That kind of goes hand in hand, and so that was.
I understand and I appreciate that. I just didn't want you to go away from tonight's meeting thinking that the outcome was totally negative. It's not.
I mean, yeah, I understood that it was.
We're not saying, we don't want to deal with you people. It's not,
Yeah.
has nothing to do with
No,
that.
I don't,
It's
yeah,
just-
I definitely don't have that
It's
impression.
not practical. Okay?
Yes, appreciate
Anything
it.
else? Anybody else got anything under new business? Hearing none.
Yes.
Yes. Tenants, what do you got?
I sent in an email requesting a safety bar at the end of my bathtub.
Alan?
Yes,
Yes, we're gonna get you one.
thank you.
You're welcome.
That takes,
Boy, that was easy. Al, you got anything else we need that easy? Because
yes, I have one more
We're ready to
thing
do
right
it.
now. We have Halloween coming up on Saturday, correct?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
would be beautiful for the neighbors to see how lovely the Royal is totally lit for that whole night. All the outside lights on.
Well, what time do they go off now? Like here, they go off at midnight. I'm assuming that at midnight your lights turn off? Yeah.
No, every apartment has a deck light and a patio light. And they used to have, before they were on the market, all those lights were on. And it really made the place really outstanding. So that's all my suggestion, just light them all up.
Well, I think you'd have to ask each individual tenant, right? You'd have to,
No, there's a master switch for that one.
oh, okay.
Alan will look into it.
Yeah.
First of all, I have to say, the town has already gone on record with a request to not have out trick-or-treating for Halloween. That's,
Well, this is not for trick or treat.
I understand.
This is just for.
just to make it look,
Yeah.
you know, and we would, by doing that, we would establish a tradition that for other holidays, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, we would expect that we would light the Royal up so that it had a presence on the post road.
And besides Post Road, it's that whole neighborhood behind
Again,
us.
we'll look into it. We'll get back to it. Anything else? Anything else? Residents associations, we have nobody here from, anything from the
No,
Heights? Anything on
I've gone through my list.
You got everything going on?
Yeah,
Okay. In that case, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the public session to go into executive session to discuss tenant and contractual issues. I have to say, when we finish the executive session, we will go back into public session to take a vote on one very specific financing issue that came up this past week. It is a technicality. It does not impact anything that has to do with residents at either the Heights or the Royal, but there is a technical finance issue that had to be resolved. It has been resolved, but at recommendation of the lawyers, we need to come back into public session to vote that we're going to accept that change. We'll discuss it in executive session. But there's no reason for anybody to have to come back for this vote. It's a very technical, non-impact issue that just has to be done. Okay? Do I hear such a motion? So moved by Jay Matthews, second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for your attendance. We are now in executive session. To order. In attendance in the room, Jay Matthews, Susan Vogel, myself, Emmanuel Minnick, via Zoom. Peter Bigelow is joining us. Todd McClutchy is also joining us via Zoom. And Paul Murray is in the room. Who else is on Zoom? We got
Crystal.
Oh, Crystal's joining us via Zoom. And then in the audience we have Al Delaney from the Royal, and we have our neighbor from West Avenue who's here to talk about the agenda item about selling that piece of property. So, welcome everybody. Nice to see everybody here this evening. First item is, we do not have any minutes that need to be approved.
No, because last time we didn't.
Yeah, right. No problem. Fawn, Crystal, do we have a property manager's report?
Yeah, I will. This is just circling back from basically last meeting.
Yep.
We have the portable fence on order. It's to slow the traffic flow so that people don't go the wrong way. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. It's a fence.
Yeah,
barrier.
it's a PCV, like white picket fence type of thing, a barrier, yep. So
Okay.
it's on order, it should be coming. Everything's kind of delayed. I know you were looking at getting a dumpster for spring cleaning or fall cleaning.
Right.
It's about $500 a week, so if that's good, we can get one, but we can circle and talk again about it. We talked about the patio and deck enforcements of personal items. Crystal, do you want to say something about that?
So we just sent out a newsletter reminding everyone about the patios and their furniture and needing to clear it all. And then we are going to continue doing our annual inspections, and the patio is something that Joe and I are going to keep an eye on and make sure that we notate and talk to each resident individually.
And then we had a tenant that had some notes that Jane was reading last time. And she was, about the stains and black stains in the water. Everything is good. There's no black stains or anything. Everything checked out, so no worries there. And then, Crystal, you want to talk about the smoking?
The smoking, we sent out a violation notice to well, not really a violation notice, kind of just like a reminder notice to the entire building to Just reminding them that that the Heights is smoke-free, and that if they're caught smoking, that it is a direct lease violation. We then received an anonymous note about, from the smoker themselves, saying that they're not sure why a complaint was put in because they moved out. So I believe the person who was smoking in building 2 no longer lives in building 2, so we are keeping an eye on that, but we did address it right away.
Okay.
And I think that's it for the Heights. We can talk about the Royal right now.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. I know we talked about the grab bars and how there's kind of slippery and it needs some kind of grip. We looked at some stuff and there's some kind of like spray that can be used to make it sticky. So maybe we'll try that, but he hasn't said it, the individual hasn't said anything after that. So if he says it again, we'll try it out and see if it works. So
Can I make a suggestion on that?
yeah.
Why don't we just try it out and see if it works? Whether it's on any one particular individual's grab bar or if it's a sample, like an extra grab bar that we have, to just try the sticky coating that you're referring to and see if it actually holds up to being wet and being used, so that it can, if it's successful, we can just proactively offer it rather than wait to hear if there's going to be any additional comments about it from that particular resident. I think it just, like, if we have it, we might as well
You may as well
take
be
the opportunity to
Yeah.
give it a shot and see how it performs.
Yeah.
Okay, then Crystal will get that on order.
And hold on, real quick there. I would like, whatever the product is or recommendation is, let's get it to our designers first before we, I just want to get their take on it as well.
I'll send it over, yeah, I'll send it over.
And then, I'm sorry, can I ask a question about the dumpsters? So you said it's $500 a week, and does that include a certain number of, I don't know how big it is and whether or not it could accommodate, like if we're saying this is a dumpster here for a week or two for anyone who has items that they want to discard, is it large enough to accommodate, what do we anticipate the number of days being before it might be filled? And does the $500 include, as many dumpings as we need to for the week, or is it an incremental charge every time they come and take it away and bring it back?
It would be an additional dump charge if it's filled prior to the week ending and they have to come out and bring it back. We would get an additional charge. But it's $500 to leave it for the week. They'll drop it off, and then if it doesn't fill up, or if it does fill up by the end of the week, then they pick it up, it's $500. If they have to come middle of the week, pick it up, bring it back, it's the dump fee.
Is it
I would
10?
make the suggestion, if possible, that we just do it for 1 week, tell people in advance it's going to be a 1 week clean out, and if it gets filled quickly, that shows it was needed. If it does not, then you know what, maybe we learn something from that also. I would not keep it for more than a week, because then you have other problems that will arise from people, especially kids, maybe trying to, jump in and scavenger and all that good stuff.
Well, if we were to do this, where would we put it?
That's one thing we have to try to figure out where we would put it also. Guys, did you figure out where we're gonna put it? Probably somewhere behind the back parking lot or something?
Joe says that they've done it before, that they've gotten dumpsters before, so he knows where to put it.
And is the
It's a
20
20-yard
yard? It's a
dumpster.
20-yard dumpster. So,
Okay, I have no
I
idea
don't
what
know how
that
big
means.
that is.
It's big.
it's
Big,
big.
it's really big? Okay.
Yeah.
You put half this place in there.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so then, are you looking for us to approve this $500 tonight?
No, we're just, you don't have to approve anything tonight. You can say yes or no, but yeah.
Well, I think we should approve it.
I'll take a motion under
Okay,
new
perfect.
business, and we'll go ahead and authorize
Perfect,
it.
yeah.
Get it here for a week,
Okay.
all right? What else? What else we got going on at the Royal? We still have tenants moving in at the Royal?
Yes, we still have tenants moving at the Royal.
Not as rapidly as it was in the very beginning. We're not, there's not a new tenant moving in every day. While we're on the subject of tenants moving into the Royal, there are 2 elevators at the Royal. one of those elevators is reserved for the movers. That elevator is put in a specific type of service. That is to say, it normally resides on the first floor with the doors open. It does not respond to the call button if somebody needs an elevator. In order to use that elevator, you go into it and you must manually push the button to close the door, and then you can move it to another floor. When it opens on that floor, it will stay open. The whole purpose is so the movers can come in, load the elevator up without the doors constantly closing, etc. And when they move that load to the second or third floor, the door is open and it will stay open while they unload the elevator to get somebody moved in.
That's not something, we're not going to keep that on move status.
We will keep it that way until all of the tenants have moved in.
Okay.
Okay, until we're sure that all of our tenants have moved in, then that elevator will be put into regular service.
Could we, I mean, I don't know what the demand is on the elevator, but isn't it something that could simply be switched on and off so that you wouldn't have people waiting for an elevator?
Jane, I gotta tell you,
We don't wait.
as a tenant, I can't, granted I haven't been there that long, it's been almost a month.
Yes.
I can't ever recall having to wait any more than 30 seconds, a minute tops to
Okay,
get
so-
the one elevator that's in use.
Yeah.
The building, there's not that much traffic going in and out of the
Okay,
building,
yeah,
so
makes sense.
this is not a major problem. The problem, and we're going to have to figure out how we're going to let the rest of the tenants know, is that there are a few tenants, as always, a very few, who insist that they're going to use that elevator. And so they walk in, it's right there, the door is open, they go in, they close the door, they take it to the second or third floor, they get out, go to their apartment, and there that elevator sits until somebody goes in and brings it back down to the first floor.
Well, is there a sign in or
There is a sign right in the lobby that says, this elevator is reserved for movers only, please use the other elevator. And it gets ignored. And that's an issue that we're going to have to deal with because there are two
So,
things.
is there a
One,
way to put a key of some kind so that for the interim period, it's completely out of service unless someone has access to a key for it?
well,
So the reason that-
we were trying to do, the whole purpose of setting the elevator up that way was so that we
Yeah.
didn't have people having to go through extra machinations to use the elevator. It's designed and it's put into a mode specifically for movers to use. And it works well for that purpose.
how many people do we still have to move in?
So like, starting this Friday till Monday, we have about 8 move-ins. So, and it happens over the weekend, that's why I leave the elevator that way, because I'm not there on the weekend, so I explain everything to them during the week, they know how to use it.
Yeah.
If someone takes it, they don't know, they start using the elevator, which causes, and the door starts to try to shut on their couch, on their dresser, and it starts to damage the elevator, their things, so hence why Joe's saying it's important that they leave the residents that already live there, leave the elevator on the first floor, so that the movers that when they come on the weekend have access to it.
Yeah, sounds like a problem. when you
There's a
don't-
sign.
Yeah.
And the sign very clearly says, Alan, you're there every day. The sign says, please don't use this elevator. Let the movers use the elevator. It's only going to go on for another few more weeks, and then the two
Yeah,
elevators will be in normal service. And I just don't understand why people can't obey the rules. There's no reason for them not to. So we'll look into it. We'll see what's going on.
How many unrented, once these 8 residents move in, is that all of the move-ins for rented units? And
There's 17 pending move-ins, but there's 8 all happening this weekend.
so 17 pending, so that after this 8 move-in, there'll be 9 pending?
Yes,
And then after that 9 move-in, is
that's it,
that,
they're done.
those are all the leases that we have signed? How many apartments
Yeah.
remain to be rented, if any?
No, that's the 50.
None, so we're completely full.
We are completely full.
Okay,
We
wow,
have,
okay.
the few apartments that are still empty are accounted for. The leases have been signed, we're just waiting for the tenants to move in.
Got it.
Okay,
But the Royal is 100% full,
awesome.
at capacity. What else do we got? Anything else going on?
No, that's it. Been working really hard to fill those units, so.
Well, congratulations, well done.
Good, good.
Okay, old business. What do we got for old business?
I got a couple things from last week. The support posts that we've talked about for more than a year now, where are we with getting them repaired? Everybody's familiar, the
Pillars.
The pillars,
These
yeah.
are the columns at the entrance here at the heights. They got damaged. The material that was used, it turns out, didn't hold up to the
Weed whackers.
weed whackers.
Right.
So the question is, what are we going to do to fix them?
We can repair it, but the weed whackers are gonna hit it, because that's just the nature of it. I mean, if you don't want them to weed whack near there, they'll have to like
They have
hand
to-
pull
They
them
have
or
to keep the
something.
weeds under control, the
So-
grass under control.
So,
But is there another product that we can use for that molding that will stand up to the kind of abuse that it's going to take?
unless you put, I don't
They
know.
make pre-made concrete pads for those two.
Yeah, I mean, this has been more than a year, we've been talking about this problem.
Can you have somebody look into this for us?
We'll have a contractor come out and see what they can use, because we want to be able to have it look nice also and match
Absolutely.
with, we don't want to put some concrete thing or some
Well,
metal
and
thing or anything like that on
the
there.
other issue here is we don't want to have to keep replacing it every 3 months because with the material that we're using just can't stand the wear and tear that it's going to get.
Okay.
Yeah, but, I mean, all right. Last time too, I mentioned the excessive amount of trash that is in the trash area.
That's part of why we're getting a dumpster, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. I can see that Joe, all praise to Joe, has gone around and cleaned out some of the dumpsters. But I walked the property today. In 21A, there's a used walker. In 22B, there's a completely broken and taken apart motor scooter with the motor, the battery, the tire. In 5 and 6, there's a tire, a chair, a scooter, and shelving. 6 and 7, a wood chair, a shovel, and a table frame. The pet waste is also overflowing. In 9 and 13, there's a bed frame and fence post. And between 13 and 7, there's metal railing, 4 bikes, a TV, and a shovel. So my understanding is that Crystal sent out a letter, I know we got it in Building 5, indicating that if you put stuff in the, now this is stuff that's not going in the dumpster itself, it's on the, outside of the bins, that people are going to be fined. I know Joe is, has doing everything he can to get this under control, but the broken apart motor scooter wasn't there the last time I did this, or last month. So this is a new item that's come in. So it's still clearly an issue.
Well, since we're discussing it now under old business, we should take up this is an old, I thought it was a new business thing, but it is not, it's an old business issue. The chair will entertain a motion to have a dumpster put on site for 1 week, and then we'll evaluate the need to extend that after we see what kind of use it gets for a week. We'll publish a notice to the residents indicating that this dumpster is there for these specific types of items that don't go into the normal dumpster. And then we'll pay the $500 and get it done. Do I hear a second motion?
I second.
Jane Matthews moves it. Do I hear a second?
Yes, I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Joe, one question on related to that. I believe there's still a newsletter that goes out with the Heights.
Yes.
Yes, there is.
So, it may be appropriate to, on a frequent basis, talk about the fact that the garbage, if you will, is for household items, is not for house cleaning. And that we will periodically announce that we're going to put a dumpster out, and it won't be every month, it'll be a couple times a year. And Ken should save those kinds of items until the dumpster is is on site. Because I think we need to remind people that if it's really that bad, go to a dump. Put it in your car, take it to the dump. And if it's house cleaning type stuff, well, a couple times a year, we may have a dumpster up there that we can use for that kind of cleanup. But my fear is that if we don't keep addressing it, it will continue to happen. And it is their responsibility, like any homeowner's responsibility. If you have items that don't fit in your garbage, then you take it to the dump.
Yes.
And they're town residents, and we have a fine facility for them to use for that purpose. So I would just, highly
It was on
recommend
October.
the newsletter have that as an item on a regular basis.
And
Yeah, it definitely was on October's.
And then we sent a separate notice also too.
you got
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And I think too, in the newsletter, we should make it clear to people how they get a town dump. Because you're right, it was in there, not to dump things in, but I think we need to tell people, if you're over 62 or 65, the town dump is free, it's $40.
You have to get a sticker.
You have to get a
But
sticker.
it's free. Now, the rules are, and this, Crystal, you're gonna have to look into this. Call Public Works and find out what the deal is. If a resident has a garbage pickup and they can show a receipt from a garbage pickup company, they are entitled to a dump sticker for free. Okay, you do not have to pay a
You have to pay
separate.
something, nominal.
I'm sorry?
You have to pay something, but it's nominal.
Yes.
Yeah, you
I
still
think
have to pay
that's true.
something.
Well, I thought they used to, if you had your own private pickup, you got the first one for nothing.
But they don't have their private pickup, we do all.
Well,
right?
but they're a resident here, so that's the question is, does the fact that you're a resident here and we, the Heights, pay for a garbage pickup, what does that entitle the individual residents to relative to the cost of a dump sticker? And we should be able to find that information out very
Yeah,
easily.
and then put it in the newsletter so
Yes.
that people know exactly how to apply and what to do, the hours and all that. And then the washer dryer issue, which I brought up before, I'm going to bring it up again.
That's you.
We all remember,
Yes,
we are paying $50 a month for washer dryers. Most of us who have been here more than 5 years have now paid approximately $3,000 towards these washers and dryers. I think most people that I have surveyed anyway would be happy to own the washer and dryer. We own it, it's our responsibility, and stop paying the $50. I know that the theory behind it is that part of our fees goes towards the water bill, but these washers are 4-gallon washers. They use very little water. I'm not saying that they don't use some water, but I'm not quite sure that there's a justification at this point for the amount of money that we have paid in on these washers. I know they cost approximately $900 when they were new. This is not the first time I've brought this up. We talked about it one time before. I'm bringing it up again. I would like, at some point, a resolution to it.
well, and by next meeting, let's have Imagineers come back to us with some information on
Okay.
why we think we need to continue doing what we're doing and what other options we have available to us.
People are